Hey, wrestling fans, this is Gary Michael Cappetta, the world's most dangerous announcer, about to head out on his Beyond Body Slam tour, and you are watching GoTarryn TV.
And welcome back, everybody. As you can see, side by side, we are welcoming back for the second time to GoTarryn TV, Mr. Gary Michael Cappetta. Gary, how are you doing out there in New Jersey?
The second time. That's why I'm the world's most dangerous announcer. I'm back at it with Tarryn.
That's right, absolutely. You know, 2 times is always better, and, you know, it's just amazing. I can't believe that it's been, 18 months roughly since you and I last chatted, and that was on the audio podcast. That was the first time I got to meet you, not face-to-face, but face-to-voice. This is the very first time I get to see you face-to-face, so I'm excited. And I'm also excited, Gary, because I'm going to be talking to you about Beyond Body Slams. That's the purpose of having you back on here. You're going to be in my neck of the woods, so for the first time I get to meet you face-to-face in person as well here in a few days. As we're recording this, of course, and when it will be published, we're a few days out. This will give a last-minute opportunity for the folks who you're going to be visiting, going down to the south, to our neck of the woods. And, Gary, before we start, let me preface this by saying anybody who's watching right now, if they want to see the very first interview, go back on the archives, episode 448 on GoTarryn TV. It was back in March 2016, and that's the first time that you'll see the audio podcast when GMC was here on GoTarryn TV for the very first time. But this is so exciting, Gary. I'm so happy we were able to make this happen. Thank you for your time. I know you're very super busy.
Problem.
Off camera, before we were even recording, you were telling me you're leaving tomorrow as we speak, as we're recording this. You're going to be on the road. You're a road warrior. We've chatted about that. So with all that said, let me turn the floor over to you for a second. Beyond Body Slams. You're going to be coming down to my neck of the woods, to Atlanta, Georgia. We're excited. I mean, tell us about it. Tell us about anybody out there who doesn't know about Beyond Body Slams and why they should join us.
You're excited. I'm super psyched. We're going to be right outside the perimeter in Conyers, and it's what I do is I take stories from my book and I go beyond, and I tell you it's a celebration of being a wrestling fan, and it's not just me; it's about the audience too. So I'm out in the audience at certain parts of the show, and I'll prep you, Tarryn, so you won't have to think too hard about this because you know the answer. But I will come out and I'll want to know what brought you to wrestling. Mm-hmm. How did you find your way to, was it a parent? Was it a grandparent? Was it a friend at school? I'm shocked sometimes. But sometimes there'll be a woman there and she'll just point to the guy next to her, which always makes me laugh. And then I'll share my way of how I came to find wrestling, and then I'll take you through a 43-year career. And I don't know what just happened there, but I disappeared. Can you still see me?
I can still see you, Gary. Yeah, absolutely. We're good.
Okay.
We're 43 years. That's yep. So you started when you were what, 3 or 4 years old? You got an early start on your career path. That is amazing.
Oh, I love you, Tarryn. Oh, I love you. No. GMC's an old man. That's fine. That's cool because I'm still filled with vigor, and I love what I do. And I mean, come on, I'm leaving in the middle of the night tomorrow night because I need to get past DC, when nobody's going to to work. I'll just be driving and driving and driving and driving and driving. Oh, Golden Corral, we need to stop, that kind of thing. And sometime Friday, I will be in town. I'm not sure what time because I may have an interview live in studio with a country music station. So, so I'll just have to cut my Golden Corral stop a little shorter so I can get into town a little earlier. But getting back to the stage show, see, I rant. I go on and on and on.
Love it.
And I'm going to take people through my years with the McMahon family. Mm. I pay tribute to Gorilla Monsoon, who was mentor.
Absolutely.
Love Gorilla.
Me too. Yes.
Yeah. I have some backstage video because we're going to have a giant screen. So as I'm telling the stories, the people are going to be seeing what I'm talking about. My tanglements with George the Animal Steel, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, backstage video of a Great American Bash tour where Jim Cornette is you just can't contain him. Um, and then we'll take a short intermission. I'm giving you the program. You can take a short intermission. We're going to come back and we're going to view episodes from WCW pay-per-views and Clash of Champions, things that happened on the air, and I'm going to give you the background of what happened and how things came to be. And then I go to my greatest hits. The night Sid Vicious and Arn Anderson had their scissor fight in the UK. It was right outside my hotel room. The night in Munich, Germany, when Mick Foley lost his ear, which was a non-televised event, but there was a German fan who snuck in a camcorder at the day. In the day, it was a camcorder. I don't know how he did it, but he did it, and he did a great job of capturing the entire match. So you're going to see the instant that Mick Foley lost his ear. You're going to see the referee pick it up. You're going to see the referee flip it over to me. And I'm going to give you the background of what happened leading up to that match and what happened when I took his ear and I went backstage. Ric Flair was in charge that night. And I said, Rick, I've got Cactus's ear in my hand. And I'll tell you about his reaction, Sting's reaction. And this is extra special. I have a special guest in Conyers this Friday. Mr. Hughes is going to be with me. And he and I have some episodes from back in WCW. He'll be joining me on stage. My encore always is a question and answer with the audience, because I can't hit all 40 years in a 2-hour show. So I'm going to ask Curtis Hughes, the Cat, to come on stage with me, and we'll talk a little bit, and we'll both take questions from the audience.
That's amazing.
I'm exhausted just telling you that. I need a nap now.
That's incredible. I'm looking so much forward to it, Gary. Already just, again, for myself as a lapsed fan, we've talked about that off the record. That's to me when wrestling was in my viewpoint, the golden era is just growing up with seeing, when you were there in the mid-'90s up to the Attitude Era and then the competition between the two big giants. Wow, you touched on so let me start with the title here, Gary, because I'm presuming Beyond Body Slams, of course, is taking us deep into the book that you wrote, of course, Body Slams, Memoirs of a Wrestling Pitchman. We talked about that last time you and I were on the show. So Beyond Body Slams, if I have it right, it looks like from what you just said, you just answered, we're really going and delving into specifically the great stories and, memoirs and everything that you're going to share with someone like myself, who's a lapsed fan, can you provide and tell us, to those folks who maybe they're not watching wrestling today, but they're like me, they really loved wrestling in that 80s and 90s era, why they need to make sure they're there, because for them, they can enjoy it and it's nostalgic. What is it, as the entertainer you are, as a fan, you're putting yourself in their shoes, that they could look forward to getting out of this?
Yeah, it's a celebration of being a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
When I was a kid and someone said, "What are you into?" You never said pro wrestling. And today, a lot of folks are embarrassed by some of the products that are out there.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't necessarily put "I'm a pro wrestling fan" out there. This night, we're not worried about anyone else. We know what we enjoy, and we're going to delve into it. It's beyond the book because there are stories that I'm going to be telling that are not in the book. And plus, when we get to the Q&A at the end of the night, the folks can go anywhere they want, because remember, I'm talking about experiences with WWE. I'm talking about NWA, AWA, WCW, Ring of Honor. So we've got a lot of territory to cover. And people can ask so many different kinds of questions. That's
incredible. And to be able to do that, like you said, 40-plus years of experience and stories within a 2-hour time frame, that's nearly impossible. I mean, but you're going to just get as much as you can, just get your bang for your buck. And from
GMC does the impossible, I'm telling you.
It's incredible.
And it's not, I want to reinforce, because there are a lot of personalities that are out, and they'll either do a comedy stand-up or they'll do a Q&A. this is one of my challenges to tell people, encouraging them to come. It's a stage show. It's like going to a Broadway show, but maybe an off-Broadway show, because around a little bit of a budget. But still, it's the stage will be set. I'll have props. I'll have a costume change. So it's not just a Q&A. There's music. There's video. I promise you, I will not sing. So it's all good.
Oh, that's a good selling point right there. Make sure,
Unless you request it. If you request it, I might go there.
Oh, that's tremendous. But this is going to be just awesome, Gary. Take us back to the beginning here for a minute, please, because I wanted to touch upon something that I asked you last time we spoke, and I learned that entertaining is in your blood. It's innate because your father, by trade, was an entertainer, and I know that from, I believe, age 10, you had helped him out, and were on the circuit and carnivals and such, helping with entertainment. Hence the name Pitchman. That's where that came from. And so, growing up, would you say is it accurate to say that you're now kind of living almost like reprising your father's legacy here and continuing that on in a different form here with pro wrestling?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Because my dad was more of a promoter. He promoted, he promoted amusements at the Jersey Shore. No, I don't know where this. A ring announcer's talent is very different from a commentator's talent.
Okay.
So that Jim Ross and Gary Michael Cappetta, we have very different gifts. Jim can look at that camera and he can bring you in and wrap you around and inside of a story. For me, I'm more of a live event entertainer, so that I'm performing to a live audience.
Okay.
All of the broadcasts that I did, what people who at home were watching on TV never saw was me engaging with the audience in the arena, and then during commercials and afterwards. So, I don't know where it came from, but because you know what, Tarryn, I could sit across from you at a Denny's and I could not sell you the best microphone in the world. I see you have a microphone there, but I can sell anything to 20,000 people live. It's curious, like personally, I'm a lot shyer than I am on stage. It just comes on, and everything is there. And people who from the interview I did with you earlier and other interviews I've done, people know that I don't hold back. I have certain opinions. I have great praise from 99% of the folks that I have encountered in the world of in the sport of wrestling. But when I differ, and I'll tell you why. And it's there for people to either agree or disagree. I'll have, I go off on rants on my stage show. Isn't like truly scripted. I know where I'm going, but how I get there every night is different. So the show every night, whether it's Friday in Conyers or Saturday in Tampa or Sunday in Orlando, it's a bit different. The topics are the same, but how I get there, and who knows, like whatever rant I might go off on, it just comes. I don't want to know in advance, as all of the times that I was ring announcing and crazy things happened around me, things that maybe I was involved in. I never knew in advance what was happening. I never knew it was coming. I like it that way. I like the spontaneity. It makes for a more fun and exciting show.
Yeah. Much agreed, absolutely. And plus, like you were mentioning too, Gary, that the fact that each venue that you perform at will be different, they'll have different people, different audience, they're going to ask different questions to you and ask you to share different stories. So that spontaneity is really key, but just having that whole organically grow and see that with the different people that are in the audience, I think that makes for just a fun, unpredictable, almost like live TV, like a live episode of Nitro, if you will,
Yeah, but I do want to emphasize that I do not, and I will not, and I would never ever embarrass anyone in the audience. Anyone that doesn't want to, because I would be one of those people that say, "Leave me alone." No, it's just a couple times that I go into the audience, and we chat a little bit. But if I
Yeah.
can tell someone's not comfortable with it, I move on. I'm there to have fun with the people that have fun in that way.
Hmm.
And some people, and I have to include myself when I'm an audience member, I just like to observe. I can go see anything. It doesn't matter what it is, and I can be entertained.
Hmm.
But just like, leave me alone. Don't tell me to sing along. Don't tell me to chant. Don't tell me to wave my arms. It's like I'm here. I paid for my ticket. I'm sitting here. Now entertain me. And I promise that the folks that come to see my show will be leaving. When I did my show in Chicago, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, up this way and then down in Greensboro, the most common, every review of the show that I received was positive. But the most common word that they used was fun. We had fun. And yet it's not a comedy show.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, you'll find out for yourself. You can tell me when I talk to you on Saturday after the show on Friday in Atlanta, your reaction. I love to hear feedback.
Yeah, that's great, Gary. I honestly, personally, and a lot of people watching probably have never been to a show like this before. Like,
Well, it's never existed before.
yeah,
It's never happened.
that's the thing, Gary. Like, what gave you the thought or the creativity of implementing this, and where did it originate? Like, was it just one night or one day you just thought I'm going to do that, or did it just somehow formulaically become an idea and a thought that you just executed? Like, how did it happen in the first place?
Years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my book has been out a long time. It's been out 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, the self-published edition,
Uh-huh.
and then ECW Press put it out in 2006.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So a long time ago, there were two reasons.
Okay.
Number one, it was to help get the word out about the book.
Okay.
It was to sell books.
Smart. That makes sense.
Absolutely true. And the other thing is, now this was before Mick Foley and JR and Bruce Pritchard, anyone that went to do live shows. I decided that there needed to be a more entertaining way, because not everybody's a reader, a more entertaining way to communicate a wacky, zany, crazy life on the road with all these wrestling organizations. And so I also wanted to bring it to people's hometowns. So it was to sell books, first of all, and second of all, to communicate to non-readers what they were missing. And a lot of people who are not readers, after they see my show, they'll pick up the book because they want to they want to hear everything. They want to get into more depth and more of my philosophies about pro wrestling and what's good and what I wouldn't do in wrestling.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, like you just said, it's a visually way of not only for them to meet you, but a way to kind of see the book in person, in action, and then, like you said, then it makes them want to read the book to be like, oh, what else did I miss, or what else does he cover that we didn't go over? That's excellent.
And remember, Tarryn, that I'm an educator, and I understand that people learn in different ways. Not everybody's going to be able to read a chapter in a book and test well on it, but maybe if they see a video of that content, you can give them that same test and they would do really well. So
very true.
Everybody learns and is entertained in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And you are still teaching, is it at the Christians Brother Academy, Gary? Is that right?
Yeah, I took an early retirement. This is my third year not teaching. Yeah, I would not. Oh boy, I would never be able to tackle a 6-city tour and still be teaching.
You don't go in and substitute though here on periodically?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would think that you would be really good at that. Be able to do some video presentations and be able to have that residually available so that people can learn, I mean, do you still teach Spanish American translation as well and any of that or
No teaching.
Oh, okay. No. I mean, I imagine you just
retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go out and do motivational speaking. I'll do seminars. I hate the word seminar. I'll do talks at wrestling schools about the business of pro wrestling.
Interesting. Yeah.
A guy like you would get them ready physically. I want to be sure that when they're successful, they have all of the tools that they need to make a really good living, to earn money, to keep it, to prepare themselves for life after wrestling,
Oh,
which
that's
is,
so crucial. Yeah.
the second half of their lives.
Oh my God, and arguably the most important part of their life. I mean, absolutely, that's what they're going to live on for the rest of their life. You could be a huge asset to that. Something like a WWE or what have you should hire you just for that and have a whole department for that, I would think.
Yeah, and I also think like the key, because not many can live for the next 30, 40 years on what they made.
Right.
So, before you make it, you should develop skills that you can go back to and you can capitalize. So when that large income, hopefully for a wrestler, is coming in, you want to make as much and keep it. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. It's not how much you earn, it's how you handle your money. So yeah, that'll get you through the first few years when you're out of the spotlight. But you need to develop skills before you hit the spotlight in order to serve you for when the spotlight goes out.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, very, very smart. You just repeated exactly. I interviewed Bob Backlund earlier this year. I mentioned I remember, I'll never forget, he'd said in the podcast, it's not so much how much you earn, it's how much you save. And that stuck with me. Oh my God, yeah. And
what people have a tendency to do is that when they start making more money, they start expanding their expenses so that they're actually not making more money than when they were making much less, when they were earning much less.
Right.
They're saving. So all of a sudden, now we're making six figures. Let's get the big house and let's get those extra. And this may sound petty, but it's not. As far as like extra cable channels or the things that they lived very happily without before.
Right.
All of a sudden become necessities. And there are only two reasons why we buy anything: because we need it or because we want it.
Right.
And we need to pull back on what we want. There really isn't much we need,
No, you're right. Yeah, very well said. You could be a financial educator too. I mean, no question. That could be a whole part of the course that you're teaching. Well, Gary, that's excellent. Back to Beyond Body Slams, let me ask you this, because we're going to plug all the information at the end so that people know where it's at. But let's go ahead and tell people, and for the people coming in Conyers here in Atlanta, what can they expect with the theater setup? Like, tell us about the atmosphere. What kind of setting are we in that theater there in Conyers?
It's my dream setting. It's perfect because it's a small black box theater. And for those that aren't familiar, a black box theater is just seats. They're on risers. In fact, on my Facebook page, I'm going to post some pictures of the interior of the theater so folks can see. Yeah, and it's a stage that I'll dress up a little bit, and it's intimate. I think I want to say it's a 90-seater.
Okay.
So once 90 seats are sold, it's not like a wrestling event where we can add another row. These are stationary theater seats, and the folks there have been wonderful to work with.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. And tell us about the previous Beyond Body Slam shows. Tell us what's one of the funniest or craziest things that you could remember in terms of a story happening that was just impromptu or spontaneous. Had anything come to mind in one of the recent shows at all?
Yeah. It was something kind of odd. It's not like a knee-slapping funny thing, but it was just I noticed that when I was in Chicago, I played a cabaret. So folks are sitting not far from me, and they're sitting around tables, and they have, drinks and whatever. And there was this one fella who was sitting at a table by himself. And I noticed at one point in the show that he was writing. And I was trying to figure out, like, what is he writing? It's like, so, that I come back for the second act and I start up again. And now I notice that not only is he writing, but he's writing on 3x5 file cards. And he has them lined up. He has them lined up on the table in front of him. So, when I had a chance, I had to just say, like, sir, what are you doing? Like, this is a visual performance. This isn't a classroom. So I teased him a little. I did tease him a little bit. And I said, are you like a stooge for the WWE? Like, are you reporting for the IRS? Like, what the hell are you doing? And I think he was an aspiring ring announcer.
Ah, interesting.
I
Wow. Huh.
still don't know what he could
Yeah.
have been writing, like, because he was constantly writing.
Wow. Wow. Oh, that's.
Maybe he was doing his homework, and he didn't have time, so he wanted to come to the show. He figured, I'll do my. I don't know. I have no idea, but it was unique. The Chicago crowd was they were a lot of fun. They were a
Oh.
lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, that is just amazing. I've never heard of such a thing during a show like that to actually note take, like you said, like in a classroom.
So
That's
I called over to because my merchandise table was inside the theater, and I called over to my merch guy and I said to him, Toby, I said, I think we need to order 3x5 file cards. I think we'll make a bundle.
You could sell that at the gimmick table there.
That's one city I'll definitely be going back to.
Oh yeah, I love Chicago. Certainly, yeah. I went to school there actually. I know, and that's where I got pro wrestling school too. Windy City Wrestling. You ever heard of Sam DeCero, Windy City
Yes, I
Wrestling?
have.
That's who
Yep.
trained me. So that we're talking about 20 years ago. So I know Chicago very well. I love it. Well, back to gosh, Gary, you're gonna have a busy weekend. So you're here, like you said, in Atlanta on Friday, and walk us through what does your weekend look like? What you're going through to provide these shows.
Well, I have to drive the show around because I
Yeah.
have stage props,
Mm-hmm.
I have costumes,
Makes
I
sense. Yeah.
have a hundred inch screen,
Oh wow.
projector,
Yeah.
so I can't fly in.
Impossible.
Uh,
No.
no, so I'll be leaving very, very late Wednesday night,
Mm-hmm.
arriving in Atlanta sometime in the day on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
setting up the stage as soon as I can, do the show in Atlanta. And, I've got someone here who's just on my lap. This is Harry.
Hey, is that Harry? You said
That's Harry.
Harry. How are you doing?
Just want to say hi.
He's adorable.
You know
Oh.
what? She's protesting because I'm going to be out of town for a week. So she's like, "No, I don't want you to go. No."
Oh my gosh. So Harry, who's Harry going to be staying with then, or how's she going to be taken care
Harry is going to be boarded
of? Okay.
and at a place where I try not to board her, and as little as I can, I board her.
Yeah.
But the
yeah.
folks where they know her really well,
Good.
and she's got it's Harry, but it's a she. Harry's got
That's
a
cute.
boyfriend that named Wallace, who also boards at the same place. So when she
Oh,
gets
that's
there,
sweet.
she forgets all about me.
Oh, she's sweet. Oh, she's cute.
So I will either I'll probably travel through the night to Orlando
Okay.
after the Atlanta show,
Okay.
and
Okay.
stay in Orlando for a couple nights and just drive over to Tampa to do that show. So
Wow.
I'm in Tampa Saturday night, and in the afternoon I'm in Orlando.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
And you told me also this is the first time you're bringing the show down our way, isn't that correct?
that is correct. The farthest south I've been has been Greensboro.
Greens. Okay. Okay. Great. Excellent. Where is the furthest that you've ever been with the show?
Oh boy, mile wise, I've never measured it.
Yeah.
I guess this will be it. Tampa will be my farthest destination city because I was out in Chicago, Indianapolis,
hmm
but I think I'm pretty sure Tampa's farther than from me.
Very cool. Well, we're honored as part of the Southern representatives. We're going to hope to make this the funnest for you so that you'll bring the show back to us repeatedly. Let me ask you this, Gary, with the show itself, you were telling me, and I can't remember off the record, but when was the last time you were here in Atlanta, Georgia? Has it been a while?
Yes, it was the last time that I announced center stage
Oh, okay.
for WCW.
So we're talking
It's-
mid-'90s, 95
yeah,
probably?
long time.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, cool. Wow. Well, that's great. It's been far too long, so this is great to have you back down here. Again, we're going to welcome you with warm Southern hospitality and just so grateful
Great.
that you're going to grace us with your presence. We're looking forward to it. And I can't believe 30 minutes goes by way too quickly. I promised you we'd get you done in close to half hour, but if you don't mind, there's a few more questions that we had come in that I
No,
promised.
that's okay. I
Yeah.
want to go back to this Southern hospitality
Yes, please.
because
yes.
you know what? When I go to Louisville, Jim Cornette's bringing me out for barbecue. So I want to know what the folks in Atlanta are going to do. Like what would be the cuisine of choice?
Oh, well, that would be Abdul the Butcher's ribs and rib shack there.
No, please, no.
He's still there, actually. He's representing us in Atlanta with the barbecue ends. So it's either that or it's Golden Corral in Conyers. So.
Well, is there a Golden Corral in Conyers?
I should know the answer to that since I used to manage. I'm pretty sure there is, yeah.
If we go to Abdullah, and I would look at the menu and I would pick out a $5.50 item, by the time he was through selling it to me, it would have cost me $50. So I can't afford going to Abdullah's place.
Oh, that's funny.
Unless you're treating. If you're treating, I can afford it.
Oh, wow, that might break the bank then. Oh, my goodness. No, this is going to be fun. So let's definitely, Beyond Body Slams, again, we're going to have it on the screen for everybody at the end, but it's Friday, October 13th, starting promptly at 7:35 p.m.
That's right.
On Center.
With Mr. Hughes there. And
yes.
It's created such a buzz that I have folks coming from out of state. Not that I have them, but there are people coming from out of state to the show.
That's excellent. Good. No, that's perfect.
Tickets have already been bought from folks in Alabama.
In Alabama. Good. Excellent. And it's at the Center Street Arts Theater, 910 Center Street, Northeast at Conyers, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. And good thing is I looked at the weather forecast. Looks like we're in the clear. Supposed to have really good weather. So I'm happy about that. You just avoided last weekend the potential Hurricane Nate that was coming through up our way. So good timing.
Yeah, well, barring anything that's catastrophic, a little drizzle, that's not going to keep the Atlanta area fans away.
That's true.
Really. It's one show, one night. You're either going to catch it or you're going to lose, or you're going to miss it. It's not like I'll be back next week, or it's not like the movies where, let's see when he's playing the next day. It's one time, one show, one place, one good time. I'm traveling 16 hours or so to get to Atlanta.
That's about right.
So any wrestling fan that says, I would have come, but wow, it was an hour away. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. I don't. If you want to find out why I'm called the world's most dangerous announcer, you tell me that.
Oh, my God. I love it. Oh, Gary, this is great. Well, again, we're looking forward to it. A couple more things, too, as side notes. You had mentioned Jim Cornette. Did you by chance catch that recent altercation he had at a wrestling expo last weekend with Santino Marella? Did you see that?
Sort of, yeah. Whatever was online, I saw.
Yeah, that was kind of odd. I thought that was weird. I haven't heard his feedback on his side of the story, and I think someone caught it on a phone, a little glimpse of it. But also, someone wanted to ask you about the recent passing of one Bobby Heenan. Can you tell us a Bobby Heenan story or your personal relationship with him?
Bobby Heenan. When I think of Bobby, the one word that always comes to mind first is loyal. He was a very loyal man. And he was also it's right or it's wrong. In other words, don't give me these excuses. There's no blurred lines. What you did was wrong. Take responsibility for it. Or don't talk to him about that because he was right. He would stand up for you. In addition to, what everyone knows is, which is that he's, world-class entertainer,
Absolutely. I don't think there's an argument. Greatest manager ever, no question about it. Perhaps one of the greatest performers altogether. You're encompassing wrestling managers, commentators ever. Definitely one of my favorites for sure. He and Jim Cornette both up there with best manager ever for sure. No question about it. And I know he was still doing the shows too. It looked like despite his illness, and so he'll definitely be missed. So he was definitely
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here in Atlanta, also you had mentioned Mr. Curtis Hughes teaming up with you on the show. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he the only wrestler to have ever wrestled while wearing sunglass shades?
That I couldn't tell you. That
Okay.
covers a lot of territory, a lot of promotions.
That's true. At least
Pro-
mainstream. I can't think of anybody WWF or WCW who'd worn glasses. I don't know how he did it. I always it was remarkable. Like maybe I'll ask him on Friday and see him in person. How'd you do it? How'd you rest those sunglasses on?
There you go. I think that would be a perfect question.
How did you guys hook up, Gary? If you don't mind me asking.
Um, I'm not understanding the question.
For this show, for him to be there, how did you guys get in
Oh,
contact with each other? Because I know he trains here. He has a wrestling school in Atlanta, but I'm curious
yes.
how that formed with you and him.
A couple different ways. We were
Okay.
both at a convention in Philadelphia
Cool.
earlier
Okay.
this summer.
Okay.
He came by my booth and he said hello. We didn't talk, and I love, he is. I really appreciate where he is in life right now.
Mm-hmm.
He has been so successful personally as well as professionally.
Yes.
So it was great to see him. And he's been checking in on my Facebook page and so forth, and I knew that he was in the area.
Uh-huh.
And I also knew that 1 week after my show, he has his first show for his students. He has a wrestling school in Atlanta.
Ah, very cool.
So this is,
Yes.
yeah, this is also an opportunity for us to promote his show 1 week later.
That'll be good. Yeah, that's perfect timing then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I'll definitely have to check that out as well. I didn't realize he was going to do that. That's going to be fun too, because that's not far from where I'm at, right there in Atlanta. But that's great. So back to the show. General admission, $25. But we want the people definitely to do, just for 20 extra bucks, $45. You can't beat that. Meet and greet. And tell us what that's going to include with the meet and greet, please.
Meet and greet. If things go as planned for this first part, you get to go into the theater first.
Okay.
So you get your choice of seats.
Okay.
For sure, you get in addition to the show, you get a Body Slams book. You get an 8x10 tour photo. And then after the show, you get a meet and greet. We'll do a photo op. I'll sign whatever it is that anyone has. And so it's an $80 value if you were to break it down piece by piece, like if you were to see me at a convention. But for $45, it's the show plus everything else.
It's a no-brainer. If anybody's going out there, $45. It's the cost of you mentioned earlier, your cable bill, less than cable, probably half of most people's cable and internet bill per month. So what a deal. That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. That's tremendous. I think we've covered everything as far as the show goes. Again, we're going to have that on the screen here. Anything else, Gary, before we let you go today for your fans out there listening, or for anybody who is on the fence or possibly trying to make arrangements to come out this weekend, whether it's Atlanta or the 2 Florida dates on Orlando and Tampa?
Yeah, I think we've done a great job in explaining what the show is.
Yes, you have. You've done a great job.
I guarantee we're going to have a good time.
Yes, for sure.
I guarantee you're going to hear stories that you're going to say, nah, come on, that can't be. And then I'm going to show you video to verify, yes, it not only could be, but it was, and it did happen. Also, this is the first 3 of 6 cities. So the 13th, October 13th, Conyers, Georgia. The next night, Tampa the 14th. The next afternoon on Sunday, October 15th in Orlando. Then I have 3 shows, Asbury Park, New Jersey, October 28th. Louisville, where I'll be running into Jim Cornette on November the 4th. And then New York City, Queens, New York. I'll be there on November the 11th.
Wow, you have a busy schedule. I don't know how you're going to be able to cram it all in, but knowing you're going to be able to do it. You are the world's most dangerous announcer, so if anybody can do it, Gary, you will.
Maybe you can give me some tips, like physical, fitness kind of tips that I could use over the next 6 weeks.
Good idea. You know what we should do? Actually, it's a good idea. We could do a I'll throw this in, one better. We could do a group personal training boot camp exercise before the show begins for everybody, the entire audience and everyone there at the theater. That might be fun.
Yeah, I don't think I'll participate in that. I need every ounce of energy for the show. So no. You're not going to wear me out beforehand. That's not going to happen.
Well, it'll be by optional only. When the show's over with, then anybody who wants to come out, we could give them a boot camp personal training thing in the parking lot. How about that?
Oh, that sounds illegal, but hey.
What the hell? Well, Gary, again, thank you so much. I know we went a little over time. I apologize, but I'm so grateful. We could steal you right literally before you're leaving tomorrow. Again, thank you so much for covering all this. I think you did a tremendous job in not only showing what's going to be available on the show, but how fun it's truly going to be. And I am so excited and looking forward to it myself personally. And everyone out there, make sure you come out and meet Gary Michael Cappetta in person and tell him what you think of him too. So, Gary, any other closing? Yeah, I mean that's the invitation.
I don't know about that part. GMC's tough. I can take it. But remember, I am the world's most dangerous announcer, so you have been forewarned.
Well, Gary, any closing words at all before we let everyone out there go? I'll give you the floor to wrap this and summarize it out.
Simply, no matter where I go, no matter which show it is, no matter which city it's at, I'll have friends there from the wrestling industry, and I promise you, we're going to have a zany, fun time, and you're going to be informed. You're going to learn things that you never ever knew before. So, I mean, being informed in an entertaining way doesn't get better than that.
Very well said. I think that's a great way to wrap it up, and. Folks, I'd said it before. We've reiterated it. Grab a pen and paper and hit pause on the screen as we're fading to black. Here comes the Atlanta information show right now. And I'll go ahead and say we're going to throw in the Orlando and Tampa events, too, on the closing end credits here of this video blog. So we'll have all three of those right here in the Southeast represented on this video here at the end. So for Gary Michael Cappetta, Tarryn the Traveling Trainer, GoTarryn TV, thank you so much for watching. Gary, enjoy the rest of your day. Safe travels down here. I'm looking forward to meeting you here in a couple days.
Thank you. See you on Friday.
We'll see you then, Gary. All right, folks, here comes the contact information right now as we fade to black.